BeastNet is brought to you by James Safety Services in partnership with OCR Buddy and OCR Strong. Here we discuss all things OCR and fitness related. Welcome to BeastNet.
Hey everybody, it's Lisa from BeastNet Podcast, and today we're talking with Erika Bogan again. And you have so much going on and so much that has happened. So it's time to play catch up.
Yes. I know it's been a little while.
Yeah, it has. So your last race was a month ago for 21.
It was December. Yep. It was Florida Central Beast weekend, and it was the most perfect venue and perfect weather as always. So it was a good way to end the year.
That is awesome. And did that make it your trifecta for this year, or?
It did. Awesome. Yep. And I start off with a trifecta for 2022, I believe. Or maybe, no, you know what? I'm wrong. No, the trifecta doesn't count for 2021 because we had started the new year in December. So my beast, the last one of the year in 2021, will start my year for 2022.
Oh, that's so crazy. I forgot that they switched it to December.
The Spartan year. Yeah.
That's
which is kind of confusing, but it is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm like, why do you make it more confusing for people?
Right. Well, and just doing that, like, because that venue every year is the last Spartan of the year. Hopefully they'll go back to the way it was and it'll count for that year.
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually we'll get through all of this.
Let's hope.
Get it all figured out, right?
Yeah. So I've noticed you are having more, I'm seeing more content from you on social media.
Yes.
So is that like one of your goals for this year, or?
It is actually. That's a really good question. So I have an insane amount of followers on TikTok. And so throughout the holiday season, so right before Christmas, I had some time off and I was like, you know what, like, I really need to start utilizing this 30,000 people that follow me. And more than anything, continue to get the message out about the importance of mental health wellness, but also to use that as a platform to be able to share some of my coaching content. And so throughout the holiday break, I just had a lot of time on my hands and not a lot to do. So I spent almost every day during that couple weeks making this plethora of content. And so I'm sharing a lot, but not all of them are made the day that I share them. Some of them were made a month ago, little over a month ago, maybe. But that is one of my big goals, is I have all of this, I have this amazing reach at my fingertips to be able to get my message out, and the tips and content and stuff that I share on a regular basis. So I might as well utilize that to my advantage. And hey, who knows, maybe save another life or two.
Yes.
That's the hope anyway.
And did you start a YouTube channel?
So I've actually had a YouTube channel for a long time, since I was Miss Wheelchair America. So that was back in 2009, 2010. But I kind of pushed it to the wayside for a long time once Facebook really took off, and then we got other things like Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter, and so I kind of have put YouTube to the side. But what I started doing actually last year, when I make TikTok videos, especially if they're informational, mental health wise, I will also upload them to my YouTube channel. So I've just been really cross posting, I guess what it would be called.
Yeah.
Or when I make something and share it on TikTok, I try to share it. A lot of times I share them on my reels on Facebook and Instagram as well. But YouTube has this newer feature. It's not new anymore, but it's called YouTube Shorts. And it's just smaller clips.
That is awesome.
And video content. So I've been really, really utilizing that before. But I actually, like I said, started it years and years ago. I had a YouTube channel that was called The Ability 411. And it still exists. And there's still tons and tons of content on there. We never deleted the channel. We left it there, kind of let it sit over the last 10, 11 years. And it's really amazing how much like we still get people that comment on the Ability 411 content or find me on YouTube and ask me questions as far as, different questions about surrounding being a person who has a disability.
Yeah. That is awesome that even after all this time, you're getting that traction with your YouTube channel that you haven't really just like promoted. And I think that speaks volumes about, what gets put out there. You can still like years later see it. And it's incredible that still allows you to reach out. And
absolutely. Well, and it's a good opportunity too for people, especially more so in the disability community. Because believe it or not, like I have a huge following of people who are also disabled. But I'm kind of like what like has been, because I am like older now and I'm not like the young, fresh Miss Wheelchair America. And so when I say has been, because I was Miss Wheelchair America 2010, so that was like 11 years ago, 12 years ago. But anyway, it's really cool because now the newer generation is finding me through outlets like TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. So it's really, really cool to be able to see them, the newer generation, kind of go back and still watch that older content and it still be so valid to their lives.
That's awesome. Are you seeing that you're getting a lot more of the younger community that's disabled that is reaching out to you and finding your content? And
and it's funny though, because it's been more so not necessarily because I have a disability, but more so on mental health. And with my mindset coaching and all of the things that I do as a trauma-informed coach. So it speaks volumes for I think the state that the entire country is in right now. I mean, I think we could even be fair enough to say the entire world, but especially how this is really impacting our youth.
Yes.
In a negative way.
Oh, totally.
So it's good to have those doors that they can open and know that it's a resource and a safe place,
Yeah, totally agree with you on that. I'm seeing that a lot just in my own local area. And it's more just like the amount of kids who are struggling with like mental illness, dealing with school, and it's heartbreaking. And I love the fact that there's somebody and something out there for them to reach out and start opening those doors, because mental health is I think that's going to come to the forefront in the next few years, because we've been forced into basically having to slow it down and reevaluate.
Yeah. Well, we've had like this total like revolution or like evolution as life as we knew it, right? So like will anything ever be like normal again? No, because we're finding a new normal, unfortunately. I mean, but when you look at the bigger picture and even like years and years past, it's like we're evolving. So life as we knew it before coronavirus has completely changed and I believe is non-existent anymore.
Oh, totally agree with you. It's we're
the new normal.
Yep. You also did something absolutely amazing this year, and you self-published a couple books.
I did. Yeah. And so it's so funny that you said this, because I have people that are like, I can't wait to read your book. And I'm like, so you gotta write the content in there.
I got
Thank you so much for supporting me.
And I'm literally I am grateful every day. That's one I've started with. And it's so crazy because you're the one who originally kind of got me to do more than just write down what I'm grateful for every day. You got me to start journaling, and back in September, I think I just kind of stopped. I fell off that like routine that I had, and I've been doing it for almost 2 years. So
and like you were like consistent. I remember you sharing that with me.
Super consistent, fell off, and then just kind of had a mind shift at the first of the year, and I'd bought your books and I started doing that again. I started making, I made my own journal, and it's so crazy how when you start being grateful and not necessarily always looking at the negative, your mind shifts. Like I've noticed in the morning, I listen to more motivational podcasts again and not really looking at my phone for a while and just kind of focused on everything else. And I've noticed like my screen time and my time scrolling through TikTok, it's all kind of slowed down. And I think that it's that gratefulness, it's that gratitude and that mindset that comes with it. And I know that you're the one who kind of got me completely on that track, and you coming out with these 2 journals is so amazing.
Thank you.
Because
I actually have 4 now altogether.
Oh my gosh.
And a positive affirmation, like mandala coloring book. I mean, because art therapy is equally healing as well. It gives you a way to just kind of practice the present moment, being in the present moment.
Yes, totally agree with you on that. And I'm hoping that like with what's going on like in our world and with everything people are going through mentally is, you know, whether you're super physical, whether you're disabled, whether, you know, you're Joe Schmo from, you know, middle of nowhere. Starting to practice that gratitude, I think will help shift some of the mindsets that people are in right now. And I just like, I can't put into words how exciting it is to see you be like, hey, like, here's your sign that is like waving right in front of you.
I was going to tell you the whole reason that I even did it is because I have had coaching clients that, so a big part of my coaching practice is helping my clients get an actual wellness routine, right? And integrating things like gratitude and mindfulness and setting intentions into their everyday routines for their own mental health wellness. And a lot of people would like ask me, like my clients would ask me like, well, what journal do you recommend? You know, I want to start gratitude journaling. What do you recommend? And I didn't have one that I liked that I wanted to recommend. So I started researching like KDP, so Amazon Publishing. And I already had an account because I had been writing a memoir, a biography, so to speak, for a little while, which has everything to do with Kilimanjaro and why I'm climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in September. And I was like, you know what? Like, why don't I do like a low content book where I can design and like make my own templates on Canva, which is exactly what I did, and make a journal that I want to tell my clients, hey, this one is a good one. This is the routine that I use, and this is what works for me, and this is where I do it at. And so that's like exactly what I did. Was I just made it myself. And it's been really, really amazing to like hear so many people have bought them, and like people that I don't know, and them sharing with me. Like if only I can get everybody who's bought journals to go back and leave me reviews on Amazon.
Yeah,
like
that's
they
the
personally
key.
Tell me. I'm like, go tell Amazon, like, thank you for sharing, but please tell Amazon. But it's been a really, really cool little adventure to be able to do that. And when I made, so I think that, as you know, like the grateful every day, like that, the gratitude journal was the one that I made first. And then I made a second one that is the exact same thing, that just has an alternative cover. And then I was like, wait, let me make a mindfulness one. And then I was like, wait, let me make one specifically designed for 90 days for women for affirmations and gratitude. Because that's super, I found in my coaching practice. I mean, that's one big, huge thing, especially for women, is affirmations, and how powerful both of those practices together, positive affirmations and gratitude, make a huge difference. And it's funny because they're both like so cliche and simple practices, but yet so extremely powerful.
Yes.
You know, I'm a firm believer that like what we concentrate on is our reality. And so if we're concentrating on the things that we're grateful for, then we have no excuse but to be grateful, right? And that's a feel good. That feels amazing, actually.
It truly does. And that, I think, you know, I started getting heavily weighed down and starting to do that gratitude again. And I've just noticed a change. I'm not so vocal when I'm driving.
Can we talk about Atlanta and me driving?
Exactly. And I'm more like, you get those moments where, somebody just decides to be a complete jerk face on the road and you're like, oh, I wish I would just call him in. I'm like, really? What's that going to do? Is it really going to do anything? And, a month ago,
jackass didn't sideswipe you.
Right. So it's just like, okay, it's that intention, that mindfulness. And I love that that's something that you teach, because I think that's something that is very needed for mental health. And I wish more places taught that, like when it comes to like recovery and everything else, because
me too.
It's gotta be really hard you're going through recovery, you got to get back into it. But when you're not in a room with somebody and you're on your own, how do you promote your leveling?
What tools do you have in your toolbox, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what's going to help you with your leveling up and moving forward? You got those tools, but you need something else. And I think that gratitude should be part of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually have a couple clients who are addicts that I coach, and I know it was like profound when I started doing it with them. I even saw changes that I wasn't expecting. Yeah, I think for anybody, like, it's just something that's really, really important. And like I said, so simple, but yet so powerful and effective. I mean, it just causes a whole vibration that you're living on. The feeling that you embody, it just changes it entirely.
It does. It truly does. And I know, you also told me, and this hit me like about a week ago when we first started talking and you were coaching me, you told me to like write down my long-term goals. I wrote them down. It's on a little whiteboard right above my head. And I look at it every day, every once in a while, just sit there and read it. But it was just there. And I had like a vision board that I made as well. And I was looking at it the other day and I was noticing the date, because I have a date set of when I was going to move. And I was like, holy shit. Sorry, Dawn.
It's happening.
It's happening. Like I'm officially moving a month before that date. And I'm just like,
that, my love, is manifestation.
Exactly. It's actually happening. And that was just insane to like hit for me. And
but you've done the hard work, right? You've done the hard work. And now all of those seeds that you planted, they're sprouting and they're blooming, and it's becoming a reality.
Yes.
It's amazing.
I think that's the other thing, a testament to, you talk about it, being planted and blooming and growing. This has been like a 2-year. Well, I wanted to move for years, but really focused on it has been only in the last couple of years. So it wasn't something that happened overnight. It took time. And like you said, it took a lot of putting the work into things. And
so people think, I think a lot of times, like, so anything with manifestation and like the law of attraction or anything like that, the law of attraction is absolutely real. I mean, it's been proven time and time and time and over again. But what happens is things like The Secret comes out, and it's not explained correctly. It's explained in a way like, oh, you write this down, you make this vision board, and then you sit back and like all of your dreams are going to come true. Like, that would be amazing. Like, that would be magical. But that's not really how the law works.
No.
So you have to do the work in between the writing down, the visualizing, the manifest. So you have to do the work to manifest.
Yes.
Right. Which takes staying on in a good, positive, healthy mind frame, and which is where mental health comes into play. Keeping ourselves in that good place.
Yep.
And things happen.
They do happen. And there's been some setbacks, there's been some difficulties, but that mindfulness and that, teaching that mindset from the negative to like on the positive. Yes, the negative happens, but
how you respond to it, as long as you're changing that's the key. Yes,
that response. And like you even told me, what's the positive, within this so-called
there's
negative.
Always one.
So that has been such a huge help. And there's that testament right there. Like,
it works.
It works. It truly works. And I think that kind of plays into a role with like obstacle course racing, physical fitness, mental health.
Absolutely.
It's putting that work in, and yeah, you might have bad days, you might feel off, but it's working towards not falling off the rails so many times to where it's like, oh, there's a bump, but I can get over it. And it's that
learning to just live with life, like let life happen and accept all things as they are.
And it's the acknowledgement that it's not going to happen overnight. Like,
no,
for anybody, like your healing didn't happen overnight when you had to move forward from.
It's a continual process.
Yes, exactly.
Once you get to the next chapter, the next level, you've got to level up again. So it's like constant work, but holding yourself accountable and being responsible for your own mental health and your own shit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because at the end of the day, that's simply what it is being responsible for your own wellness.
Yes.
Whether that's physical or mental, right? Because mental health it coincides with physical health. They're two of the same thing. It's just about a state of wellness, of being well.
Totally agree with you on that. And I think sometimes when people get into like they're gung-ho about their physical health, been there, I've done it. That's your only focus. That's all you focus on. It's like
you're neglecting this part.
And you forget this part. And I think that's where sometimes when people fall off the rails and they start getting the weight back and they start like not doing that physical routine again, they've forgotten the mental. And by the time they're like where they want to be physically, mentally, it's not there. Mentally, they're not fully prepared for the profound changes that they've had physically to digest them mentally. And so I agree with you. It's everything kind of partners together.
It has to be a balance.
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be a balance. And you know, I think that stands for everything in life, right? Because life is all energy. It's duality. It's the positive and the negative, which is why with every negative you can find a positive and vice versa.
Yes.
But finding that balance between the two is it takes constant work, constant dedication, and discipline to do that physically and mentally.
Yes.
Which is why we're human.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. It's why we're human. And I know that you are preparing for Kilimanjaro and it's finally happening. Yay!
It is finally actually happening. We are officially, this is the last time I will ever say it. We're like officially on the final countdown, less than 9 months away. And we will be flying out. When I say we, my core team and I will be flying out to Africa to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, which so funny. I just recently, this has been planned since 2019. And then the pandemic hit, and then I wasn't vaccinated. Like it was all of these things happen. So like everything gets in line. I get all the ducks in a row, if you even want to call them ducks. And I just found out after all of this planning and preparing and training, I just found out that Kilimanjaro is the largest freestanding mountain in the entire world. And I didn't know that. I knew it was a volcano. I knew it was one of the tallest mountains in the world, but I didn't know that it was the tallest freestanding mountain in the world. So I was like, oh, that's pretty exciting. But yeah, we're getting closer and closer, and I'm still actively training. And we have a whole bunch of OCR races planned this year, because that still holds true to being the best training, so to speak, for Kilimanjaro, because of the different terrains and different elements and stuff like that. So we are actually doing climate training as well. Everybody always asks me about altitude training, and I'm like, the problem with altitude training, while it is important, I think, it's really hard to train for altitude. You can have like the altitude mask, which I have, and work out in, and all of that kind of stuff. But then as soon as you take that mask off, so just like if you were at the top of the mountain at high altitude, as soon as you start coming down, your body acclimates back to sea level. So it's something that's really, really hard to train for. Initially, we, when I say we, Joey and I and the film crew, because I'm still being documented for Meandering Scars, the film that is being made about my journey to Kilimanjaro. We're going to go to Colorado and actually camp out in the dead of winter. Like when I say dead of winter, like the end of this month, camp at altitude in the dead of winter. And then we ended up finding out, the more and more we researched it and looked into it, that it's actually going to be colder in the mountains in Colorado than what I need to train for. And so while altitude is absolutely important because it is so hard to train for, I mean, you can be the healthiest person on that mountain and not make it, get altitude sickness and not make it. You could be the least healthy person and make it to the top. And so to me, for me specifically, I felt like it was me and the team felt that it was more important to train for the climate. Because we know that my body, being a paraplegic, reacts negatively to extreme temperatures. So because it's going to be so way colder in Colorado than what it would ever be at the top of Kilimanjaro, we're actually doing climate training here in North Carolina at the end of this month. So our core little group, well, a handful, not the entire group that will be with me on the mountain, but handful, the team, my team leader, obviously, which is Joey, and Joey's my right hip. So Joey's with me at every single race, every single training, anything, like Joey's there with me. And then Jonathan, who's also going to be coming to Kilimanjaro with us. And then the film crew, because we're going to obviously document this training, are about to be, not next weekend, but the weekend after, going to the mountains in North Carolina, where I can tell you right now, they have about 10 inches of snow. So we just got hit with this massive storm on the East Coast. And actually I have a couple inches of snow outside my house right now with a nice layer of ice underneath. But anyway, we're going to be traveling to the mountains here in North Carolina and camp out in a tent. And that's going to be really good for two things. Like I said, the climatization, is that what it is? I don't know that word, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? To see how my body's going to react so that we can be prepared and like have what we need in place, whatever that is, in place to keep my core temperature at a healthy place so I don't get hypothermic. But also, it's going to be really, really important for us to do this camping trip so that we are prepared as to what I need gear-wise to keep my body warm. So I'm literally going with like what I already have, like the stuff I already own. And we already know that like I'm going to need other stuff in addition to what I already have. But like, we're just going to go ahead and shoot. Like, I'm not buying anything new. We're going to try everything I have. And then from there will be an indicator as to what we need to purchase to keep me safe and healthy and warm and all of that good stuff on the side of the mountain.
So that's basically your building blocks. You're going to go from what you have and just add to it to make sure that you got everything you need. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned
gear is expensive.
I know.
Yeah, especially cold gear. So I'm like trying to like not to have hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of gear.
You're talking
if we can get past it.
You're talking to the girl that lives in the Northwest, and we got hit with snow a few weeks ago. I have a pair of like short little rubber boots, multiple hoodies, and a rain jacket now. That's what I go out in.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of cold weather gear or anything like that. I'm like,
I don't really either. One, because I live in the Southeast, but also because where it's cold at, where you need that gear, I stay very far away from. I hate the cold. I hate being cold. And so it's so funny because I keep like, anytime I make a post about Kilimanjaro or an update, leading up towards it, I always make sure to mention and put LOL. I am not a mountain climber. Like, this is not something that I would ever choose to do for fun. Like, there really is purpose behind this. Like, I am not completely unprepared anymore. But I know that I definitely need some more preparation. So this isn't anything that was ever necessarily in my realm. It was just a whim thing. Like, hey, let's climb this mountain, let's do this. And then the reason why, which is suicide. So.
Yes. And that kind of plays along because like you said earlier, you're also writing a book, which plays into Kilimanjaro. So, you have had your own battle with suicidal ideation. I have too. Yep. And there's so much, people put a lot of like shame into it. I don't even know how else to explain it. They put shame into it, and making people more aware of where somebody who feels like that comes from, and giving people the proper tools in their toolbox to work through it so that they don't. And the fact you're making it so like in your face and like, hey, we need to fix this. This is what we need to do is absolutely incredible. And I also see like with Joey, because he's the right-hand man. He does a lot of posts on social media too, like really promoting it and acknowledging it. Yeah. And it's awesome to see that awareness being put out there, so people start to see.
It's like going, hey, me too. You're not alone.
Exactly.
Because there's so much shame attached to it. And so when people see specifically like somebody like me who like take the OCR community away and the disability community, I am very, very recognized as an advocate, a national advocate. And, people would see me all the time and like, you're my hero, you're so strong, you're my inspiration, and not realize, because I had that mask on, that I was dealing with the same stuff they were, and that my life wasn't any more grand than theirs was, except for the fact that I was choosing to not allow that to take over my life. I was choosing to keep myself going. And it wasn't until I took that mask off and started going, hey, me too, that people started more, I think I started feeling more so human, because it actually negatively affected me for a long time when people who were hurting would come to me and like tell me what an inspiration I was, and like literally think that like my life was what they saw on social media. And it started making me feel like, I guess, like that imposter syndrome, like, wait a minute, like, and I would say to them, like, I need you to know that I deal with what you're dealing with too. But that would never like fully hit them because, right, like because of what they see.
Yes.
And it wasn't so I started taking that mask off and sharing more of my personal story and my personal battles and being really raw and not having a mask on anymore, that I started realizing that I was able to actually connect with those people. And that's what needed to happen is that connection, so that I could take what I went through and what I survived, right? Because not killing myself was surviving.
Yes.
And share that with them with hopes of them taking it and keeping themselves alive as well. Yeah. And so what's been really cool to see More Heart Than Scars grow over the last 3 years, since 2019, and see how we collectively, Joey and I are just, and Zach are just the front people, right? So we're like the faces that everybody sees all the time. Really just we're the ones spamming the shit out of everybody with mental health awareness stuff. But through doing that, we have began to really create this community, and it's not necessarily a small community anymore. It's growing to be a substantial community. I mean, when they see us now, you should have seen my Beast Weekend in Central Florida. When they saw More Heart Than Scars coming, it was like an army of red. We had, gosh, at least, if not 30 people out there with us, I would be really surprised, all wearing More Heart Than Scars jerseys. And amazing. That's a huge statement. Yeah, like that's huge. And what's crazy is that every single person on the team, you only see and notice those of us that have the physical disabilities. Mm-hmm. But every single person that's out on that course with us has something.
Yes.
Has some battle that they have fought or continue to fight every day. And we're all collectively helping each other. So while I have people helping pull the chair up over fallen trees and through the mud and crap swamp, while they're like pulling my chair or lifting my chair, I'm telling the girl over here on the right to me, please reach out to me. When you're feeling that you're in this dark space that you're telling me about right now, like, this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
And like her not even realize, like, oh my gosh, like she's just not leadership of More Heart Than Scars. Like, I'm not just an athlete for More Heart Than Scars either. I wear many hats.
Yes.
And it's been really, really cool to be able to see our vision as building a community around invisible scars, a safe place for all to be welcome, no matter where they came from, no matter what profession they do. They're welcome with open arms, and they're supported and they're assisted, and they become a part of this huge chosen crazy family. We're like circus people. You've traveled with us, you know.
Yes, and traveling with you guys was absolutely amazing because
it's like a circus.
It was like a circus, but everybody just like you guys make everybody feel very welcome and very loved without it feeling like a show. You know, it's not a fake feeling. Like, everybody is very genuine on how they care about people and bringing people into the fold, and
as well as I think being vulnerable and knowing intuitively it's a safe space. And so a lot of times out on course, the most beautiful thing about our team is if you were a fly that was on somebody's shoulder, like coming along the course with us, you literally hear these vulnerable stories of struggle and pain and loneliness and darkness. It all comes out on the course.
It does.
And it gives us, and I say us because there's a handful of us that are all mental health professionals or certified coaches, or we're all rehabilitation specialists, addiction recovery specialists. So we're hearing these stories, and whichever one is our expertise, we're right there readily available to open up that conversation and offer that safe space and that companionship and that, like, you're not alone, me too.
Yeah.
And it happens, and that's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. And it also happens, like, it happens within everybody else. Like, you get that comfort and that ability that, like, oh, I can be vulnerable with these people. Like,
we're a very openly affectionate crew too.
Yes. Well, like in April, when I was racing with you guys, I kind of stepped back a little bit. I was just it's very much an observer that day. Didn't really do a lot of like obstacles and stuff. I was just observing like
hey, you helped pull my chair. You're my side girl for a little while.
I was. But being able to sit back and watch how the team worked and how everybody lifted everybody up, I also had a chance to fall back a little bit. And I remember talking with Casey, and we both kind of have that a little bit of social awkwardness of like, do I say something? Do I talk?
Yeah.
And we totally hit it off. And we both were just able to be like open and vulnerable with each other. And we started talking, and that was just an amazing feeling to have, is that ability to be free like that and no judgment. And
it's therapeutic.
Yeah, it really was. It was such an amazing weekend. I know Dawn had a good weekend.
Dawn actually was with us in Florida too for our last.
Yep. You got to go back to Florida. Lucky guy.
Yes. And I'm telling you, it was like 88 degrees. I'm rubbing it in. Like it was like really beautiful. I know you love me, so I could do that. I could rub it in. It was the perfect weather, like hands down, perfect weather.
My daughter and I went to Florida over the summer. Like, it was our big vacation, and you're the one who could like told me, hey, you should go here. And it was the most amazing week. And it was more like, yeah, my daughter and I went to do things, but it was the heat. It was the smell. And I don't even know how to describe it, but it had
Yes,
a very like
it's
sweet,
Florida.
sweet, almost swampy smell, but it wasn't like, it wasn't bad. I was in heaven, absolutely in
Yeah.
heaven. So yeah, I'm a little bit jealous about the 80 degrees in the
It was
middle of
amazing.
winter.
Like, I know the first morning, one leg and I are getting in the car with literally like tank tops, like not cold whatsoever. And this is the middle of December. It was pretty amazing.
Makes me so
2 days of that.
sad.
And I have tan lines in December.
Hey,
That's
hey.
a win.
The other thing too is it was finding a home and finding a team. And I think that's something that when you get into OCR, if you're kind of alone and you're struggling mentally, literally find somebody with a more heart than scars t-shirt.
And we're all over.
Yeah, I was
We
just
have
gonna
ones
say
that
we're
run
spreading.
individually and catch back up with us. And like, I
Yes.
mean, but at almost every race, there's somebody there with more heart than scars jerseys. We have presence everywhere.
Everywhere. And it's coming, like it's becoming more visible here, even on
It's a
the West Coast. It's such a movement. And I really hope that that movement continues to explode. And I know with like Mike's help and Dawn as well, it really will do that.
Absolutely. It already is.
Yes.
It's amazing. It really is. And actually, so we have you were asking me a little while ago, we have some really really exciting things coming up in 2022. So I'm crazy. So right after we come back from Kilimanjaro, less than a month later, one leg and I, and of course Joey's going to be there, and a couple other guys are going to be there to assist. But it's not going to be a big, huge team thing because of what it is. But we're actually, one leg and I have officially signed up to do the world's toughest mudder, the 24-hour.
That is so awesome.
And our plan is obviously to do the entire 24 hours, as many laps as we possibly can. We have each other to rely on. He carries me on one leg over the hardest obstacles, which helps save my shoulders for the other stuff. But yeah, we've got some really big things about to happen this year. So this will be my first year in OCR actually doing any kind of Tough Mudder events. And I believe I have 2 on my schedule aside from the world's toughest, just to prepare, because I'm like the Spartan girl. Like, I don't know anything but Spartan and some Phoenix races because I led by Julie.
Yes.
But other than that, I mean, I am a total, everybody knows Erika is the OCR snob, but I am, I'm opening up to Tough Mudder, especially like, so how I rationalize it in my brain that the Spartan snob girl is that Spartan does own Tough Mudder now. So, yeah, but I'm really, really excited. The other thing that's going to be really big this year that I'm looking forward to is one leg. So we have a vision, and it will happen, and whether or not it'll happen in 2022. So let me back up a little bit. So I'm doing my first Savage this year as well. One leg has been trying to get me to do a Savage race because that is his. So he used to be like the Savage snob, where Savage is where he started. He still to this day is the only above the knee amputee that has ever done, actually I think amputee period, that has ever done a Savage race on just crutches, underarm crutches. And he does this every year. I can't even remember. It's some ridiculous amount of races that he's now completed doing this through Savage. But this year we're going to do a ruck with Savage, and he is carrying my body as his ruck.
Oh my gosh.
On his back for, I think it's a 5 mile. Maybe it's 3 mile. I think maybe it's a 5K. I might be wrong. 5K, which is 3 mile.
Yeah.
Obviously Joey and probably one other person will be there with a chair as well, just in case. But our vision is, like, So let's say the race that we do, the Savage that we do this year with him carrying me, let's say we don't make it, which is a probability. I mean, we're not superhuman. But if we don't, then I get in the chair, we finish out the rest of the race. We're still finishing the race just without him actually carrying me. And then we try again the next Savage. And we're going to continually do that until we finally set that record and be the first amputee and paraplegic to ever do such a thing in OCR. Like, that's our thing. But it's amazing because when he carries me over the biggest obstacles during a Spartan race, which usually is the A-frame cargo at the very end. So it's like super, super high up. And by that point, I can climb the cargo by myself. But by that point, my arms are shot. My shoulders are done. I don't want to climb the A-frame. So I have to hold on and balance on the back of him, and he carries me. And it's amazing though to see the response from the festival area when other people, not just other racers, but like spectators see a man with one leg carrying me. And it's funny, Lisa, because a lot of times, unless they know who we are, they don't know until he gets down at the bottom and they bring my wheelchair over that I'm a paraplegic, because just looking at me, you can't necessarily tell if I'm out of the chair.
Yeah, that's very true.
So, but I mean, it's become something where we've just seen like the power that we create for other people. Like, we empower other people to go, oh my gosh, like now I really have no excuses. There's a guy with one leg carrying a paralyzed girl with no legs, one leg and no legs. But anyway, so we want to continue doing that and getting people off the couch. Yes. And getting them to ditch all the excuses that they have. And if that means us doing some really crazy, maybe stupid stuff, then that's what we're going to do. Obviously, we're safe though. We're safe. I would never let anybody carry me that I didn't feel safe with. And I feel one leg is one of the very few people that I know I am just as safe on his back as I am on Joey's back.
Yeah.
They don't call him one leg beast for anything. He's a beast.
That's the thing too, is like you said, you want to you guys inspire people to get off the couch. I can't count the times being on a race course I've come across somebody who has had a disability who, like, I feel like they're lapping me half the time because I'll slow down and I don't even realize that they've passed me. And I come up on again and I'm like, when did this happen? But the fact they keep going, they keep persevering through it, even though it can be highly challenging and
painful.
Yeah. And then you're like, I have no excuse. Like, I literally have no excuses. And then I also read in a book this week and it like really stuck with me. And the line was, excuses are fake news. And I was like,
aha.
Snap, I just got called out with even realizing it. And, excuses can be, it's not,
there's nothing you can't do except for the things that you tell yourself you can't.
Yeah. Your excuses are like, you give yourself the excuses. There's no reason for it. And
it's only the narrative that you're making up in your own head.
Yeah. And I'm starting to like really see that and really be like, okay, this is a me problem, not everybody else problem. And that's, I kind of want to see that and be there for that, because that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I saw the videos of him carrying you over the A-frame and
the slip wall probably too, because that's the other one that he is the slip wall. Yeah.
That
one makes people nervous. Like, there's like, you can hear a pin drop because everybody's holding their breath. And I'm like, he's got this. Like, the one person that should be nervous is me. And like, I'm not. So everybody else should be calm too. But it's that, oh my gosh factor of seeing it, especially if it's the first time that you've seen it.
Yeah, fully agree.
Like, how is this going to work? Why are they letting him do that?
I was sitting at home.
No, we're choosing to do this.
I was sitting at home and I was watching, you guys had posted the video and I'm like, what the heck? What? I'm like, like that gasp of like, see, I'm like, don't know why I'm
If you
freaking
heard the
out.
commentary between me and him, though, it's really comical because so like the whole time, like we're doing something, he's like, because by this point we're both in pain. And this
Yeah.
is the end of the race, you know, and he's like muttering, like mumbling under his breath, only I can hear him, like, and you got me to sign up for 24 hours of this crap. 24 hours because the Tough Mudder. And then on the flip side, I'm like in my head when my shoulders are throbbing and I'm holding on and trying to keep my balance so I don't throw him off balance. In my head and under my breath, I'm like, and you want me to do this for 5K, for 5 kilometers? You want me to hold on to your back and like, but I'm gonna do it. And like you'll hear the other one reply to the other one, stop being whiner, like your mama didn't raise a quitter, like, because those are our replies. Or his reply to me is, nobody wants to hear your sad story. Like, but that's my partner.
That's great though, to have somebody who like, yeah, they listen to you whine a little bit and they're like, excuse me, snap out of it. And
pull your big girl panties on. And
yep.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
finding the
Actually
humor.
the beast. Yeah, well, the beast under the barbed wire crawl was before the slip wall and the A-frame, and it was like the longest barbed wire crawl, and he's like moaning and complaining, and I'm over there yelling at him, and I'm like, your mama didn't raise a quitter, you know, and I'm like yelling at him, and people are like, what is wrong with them? Like, not realizing that like he's one of my closest friends out there on that race course, you know, like my brother from another mother. We're out there conquering things and empowering people and doing stupid stuff.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I've raced by myself once, and it was something that I knew I needed to do for myself because of a lot of stuff I had just previously gone through, but I really don't enjoy it at all. I rather would be with a team, like More Heart Than Scars, where you're working as a team, you're all having a good ass time. And it does not matter if you
fall behind, somebody's going to be back there with you.
Well, yeah.
If you want to go further up ahead, somebody's going to be with you. You're never alone.
You're never alone. And there's not that pressure of like, oh, I have to beat this time. I've got to be blah, 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 blah. It's not about that.
We race to finish.
Yeah. That's the part that I really love. I've always loved seeing the camaraderie and the teamwork that the teams have that are cohesive, and you can tell that they're not just a team, they're family. And
that's More Hearts and Scars. We're family.
And I think that's why it was easy for like BeastNet to kind of be like, oh my gosh, we found a team.
Our tribe.
We found our tribe. So I think that's just absolutely amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing the footage of your human Ruck experience, because I don't even know what to call that yet.
I'm still in my head. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing we could have ever thought of. But we're doing it. We're going to do it.
But it's got to be like, you get out there and you're doing that, and
it's empowering for One Leg and I. And I don't want to speak on behalf of any of the other athletes, but I'm sure it's similar for them as well. Adaptive athletes. You know, when we conquer one goal, just like with any other athlete, we conquer one goal, like we've got to do something bigger and better next. And it keeps us going. It keeps, I know for me, it keeps reminding me of my ability. Like every day on a normal daily basis, when I'm out in the world that's not built for me, I'm reminded of what I can't do. And so being out there on the course, and specifically when I'm out there with One Leg, and him and I are doing things that nobody would have ever thought anybody would even want to attempt. It's another level up for us. We look at it differently. We don't look at it as like, this is really stupid and we probably shouldn't do this. Like, we look at it as like, no, we can do this, and we're not going to let anybody else tell us we shouldn't or can't. And that's empowering for us. I mean, with being somebody with physical disabilities, that is what we're told all the time, is you can't do that.
Yeah.
So like when I'm in the airport traveling by myself and I go hop on an escalator instead of trying to find the elevator, I get security guards are like, ma'am, you can't do that. By that point, I'm halfway up it. And I'm like, I just did. Have a great day. But that's a good example of told I can't do something that I clearly have the ability to be able to do. So don't tell me I can't, because you best believe I'm going to do everything possible to prove you wrong, because I'm tired of being told I can't.
I've seen you do that. Like
Yes.
your TikTok that you posted. Oh my God, it gave me a freaking heart attack. You're like rolling yourself downstairs. And I'm like,
that video has over 1 million views. Like out of all of the like empowering things that I do, and that's the video that made over 100 million views. I'm like, crazy. But yeah, I mean, that was a perfect example.
Yeah.
The elevator was broken when we came out. It was working fine on the way up, but it was broken on the way down. And there was a guy that was telling me, no, I couldn't take the stairs because it would be a liability for the shopping plaza. And I'm like, okay. As I'm going down the stairs, I'm like waving, like somebody needs to fix the elevator. You know what I mean? But like, don't tell me I can't, because clearly I can, or I wouldn't even attempt. I'm not a total idiot. So just kidding. I'm not at all.
Well, it's also
I'm highly intelligent, and I'm not going to attempt something that I feel like I could potentially hurt myself. I would never, ever, but yeah, don't tell me I can't.
I see that as also like, it's gotta be, that will be something, at least to me, would be very empowering as an adaptive athlete, as somebody who is disabled. Like, well, she has no legs to use, he's only got one, and yet look at them combined together, the powerhouse unit they've like, you guys have created by leaning into each other. Doesn't matter if you have a disability or not, you guys are leaning into each other. And
absolutely, we're relying on each other's abilities.
Yeah. And that's gotta be inspiring for, like I said, the adaptive athletes, because you see so many people who have ability to go do stuff, us walkers, as you like to call us.
Yeah, but there's even wheelers that are like that, Lisa.
Yeah.
And that see us do things. I'm like, God, I wish I could do that. And like, my response is always, you can.
Yes.
You can.
You
might fall a couple times. You might not be able to do it the first time you try, but keep trying. Exactly. Don't stop until you get that goal. And I guess that is one, like, and I like that's our mindset when it comes to, doing the world's toughest mudder, or him carrying me as a ruck. We've got to keep leveling up. We got to keep surpassing what we even know our ability is.
Yeah. I think that's the only way you can grow
and
become a better human being. If you got to you got to continue to level up and push forward, continue to push your goals forward. And no one's perfect by any means, but that continuance.
We don't have it all figured out.
Exactly. That continuance of leveling up. It's amazing how much, even if it's like a tiny little bit of a level up, you grow so much. And
absolutely. The first time that one leg ever carried me, actually, so our first race together was 2019, the Central Florida Beast. Was our first, and he didn't carry me at all. He helped me up the slip walls. Like, he grabbed me and pulled me over the wall. The first time that he actually ever carried me was the slip wall, and it was in Atlanta last year. And so like, once we accomplished that, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, then the next thing he was like, the A-frame. I'm like, you want to do the A-frame? Which is leveling up. The A-frame's a lot bigger than the slip wall. And depending on what time of day or what day you're going on the cargo net, it's really stretched out and slippery and wet and muddy and nasty, and it's not easy. And I'll never forget, like, the first time, like, I remember saying to him, like, everybody kept saying, like, are you good, Erika? Are you good? I'm like, I'm good as long as he's good. He's my legs. He's the one really doing the majority of the work. And he's like, I'm good. but that was our next level up. So then it was like, okay, well, like, what are we going to do next? Let's do the world's toughest mutter. But yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. It's just leveling up.
Yeah.
And again, the whole reason we do it isn't just to empower other people. The main reason is to empower ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
And keep pushing ourselves to that next level.
Yep. The A-frame, that is such a interesting obstacle because it looks easy. Like in theory, it looks so easy. You just go up and over, but like you guys have your physical disability, and like for me, when I first started doing it, it was like terror for me. And it was more because I'm not a fan of heights, and it's not even that
it's
tall.
So high. Oh, it is though.
But it is like getting up and over that. Like I would always have to pause at the top and be like, okay, breathe. Okay, breathe. You can do this.
You have to stop and pause at the top. He sits down. He sits at the top, and we sit there a minute.
Yeah, I've had to do that. I had a teammate in Montana my first year. So not only are we on this freaking A-freight cargo, we're at the top at this amazing view looking out over Kalispell, and I froze. Like I freaked out, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And she's like, yes, you can. And
there's only one way down.
Yeah, she got me completely focused. We had a little bit of fun, and we got over it. And it took me a couple of years to be able to get over that A-frame without freaking out. And part of it too is, like you said, depending on the time and the day, like I've gone over that when there's so many people and it's like that.
It's stretched out.
That constant movement. And then like, you got to remember where to place your hands so you don't get it pinched between the bars. And, I had one other friend say too, she's like, it's not big enough for you to fall through completely. It's going to be okay. And I'm like, but she's like, yeah, it's not big enough.
Unless you're Erika.
Right. Yeah.
So my very first time on that A-frame was my first Spartan, which was a super in Charlotte, and it was cold. It was rainy. It was nasty. And I had never at that point in my paralysis, I'd never been up that high outside of something. So like outside of like an amusement park ride or like encased and belted into something. I mean, and here I was, I'm like, I'm going to climb this. And I had a really hard time, but I got to the top with my team's help. I got to the top and I froze. And there's actual video footage. I'll have to send you the clip. There's video footage of me at the top, and you can physically see me shaking and bawling. And I was like, I can't do this. I was terrified. And it was the height, and it was, I'm so tiny that one little wrong movement. Now, granted, the whole team had their hands on me, and I think I had a harness on, but in my brain, one wrong movement and I'm falling through this hole.
Yeah. Because
my whole body will go whoop, like a cannonball right through it. I'm fun-sized. So, but I was terrified. And actually it was Zach and Rob Lyday, the head announcer, who also is a More Heart Than Stars Knight. So he's also family. I think that's where I bonded with Rob. Like Rob will forever be one of my safe people, one of like, yeah, he's family. That's my brother forever. Like, because between him and Zach, they calmed me and they got me off that A-frame. I did not climb down by myself. I was terrified. And now do it on one leg's back with no harness, no rope. Like my ability, my strength has come so far since April 2019, and one legs as well. So that's like another part of this for us, this is what continues to get us better and perfect our ability.
Yeah.
On the course, so.
Yeah, totally understand that. I will never forget my friend who helped me get over that A-frame in Montana.
Yeah. It's that bonding.
It was that bonding. She was like, she didn't let me want to give up. And we met another person on that course too, Ernesto. He was amazing. And he was just sitting there watching us, fully entertained. And, there was that bond there. I'm still, we're still friends. And eventually, like I said, a few years later, I was able to get up over that cargo, that A-frame, like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And that was like, it's one of those moments where you're like, did I just really
I just did that.
I just did that. I didn't freak out.
Remember when I was crying at the top and like, I can't do this? I just did it. I just did it. Right. It's that accomplishment, which also empowers you to go bigger next time.
Yes.
That's growth. That's
exactly.
Growth.
And again, a testament to the people you surround yourself with, is a testament to putting in that work and that determination to be like, okay, that fear is not going to drive me. That fear is I'm going to drive the fear. So you just, you're in the driver's seat, not the fear. And that's, it's a huge moment. That's like, I woohoo, like I want to run around screaming, and people might be looking at me like it's just a cargo net. No, it's not. It's not just a cargo net.
It's not just cargo. I know when we get down off of there, every time, like somebody's always waiting to like immediately grab me off of his back, because by that point, like he's a lot of pain just from the prosthetic alone, and then doing an entire race on that said prosthetic. I mean, he's in pain.
Yeah.
I'm in pain. But as soon as they grab me off his back and send me in, I look at him, and every time I'm like, we just did that. Like we did that. We did that. We did that. It's that like, yes, we made it happen.
That is so awesome.
So excited.
That is awesome. Yeah. When I saw your footage from Florida, I was like, is she really? I'm like, yeah. Why am I asking that? Like, why am I questioning if she's really doing that? Exactly. I'm like, of course she's doing that.
I met my partner. I met someone equally as, I don't even want to say crazy. Like we equally have no fear.
Yeah.
And there's not very many people that are like that, that have disabilities, that are equal-minded in the way that he is with me. And like, we just literally look at each other. He's like, I'm like, let's do it. It's pretty empowering I think for us. Like, it's just an empowering friendship, we have two completely different abilities.
Yes.
And so, it's been really, really cool to learn his perspective, on life. And, it's just really cool dynamics, and that's one of the things I love about all of the adaptive athletes on More Heart Than Scars, is that we're all so different from each other.
Yeah.
And, I think that we all learn from each other, and, we all, I know I am humbled, by my fellow adaptive athletes on our team. Because some of the stuff that they get through and do in spite of their limitations, it's like, wow, like, super, super, super powerful.
It really is.
I love my team. I love my team.
They're amazing. And I think that's just, it's like, again, it's a testament to the environment that you guys promote, the support you promote, and the acknowledgement of, not all scars are visible. And, somebody can be out there with the team and look like they are perfectly physically able. Well, you don't know.
And in their head, they're fighting harder than one leg and I are.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
And that I think comes back around to like your push and your constant vocalization of your gratitude, of the mindset of, what is the actual perspective on this? Is this your negative, like, person living in your head's perspective, or is this the person that wants to grow and change perspective? And it's just, like I said, it's a huge testament, because everybody on that team is like pushing through something. Pushing through something. And it's so incredible. I can't wait to see what happens this year for you and all the things with the team. Kilimanjaro, I am so excited. So excited. Like, I'm not even going, and I'm like super excited to see how it goes for you, to hear all about it. And it's absolutely just incredible. Part of me is wishing I wasn't taking this year off from racing.
I know, but we'll have 2023, because you're taking it off for good reasons.
Very much so. But I'm looking forward to 2023. And I think a big part of that too is I will be on the East Coast. It'll be
Yes.
so much easier to get to some of these races because it won't take nearly as long as living on the West Coast.
Yeah. Well, and we can get you really cheap flights on Allegiant, which flies literally right out of my backyard. So,
exactly.
Yeah. I've already been looking into it. Don't worry. I got you covered.
Kind of figured as much. Can we just not road trip through Atlanta too much?
We'll talk to Joey about that.
Can he just meet us?
Well,
on the
you
outskirts?
missed this last Atlanta, the Atlanta Spartan. Not only did I have to drive Joey's house, but I also had to pick up one leg from the Atlanta airport at like 1 a.m. And you already know, and anybody listening, that in Atlanta, even at 1 a.m, it's still bumper to bumper traffic at 80 miles an hour.
That is like that is one thing I will.
And then I had to
forget.
take him back the morning of that he had to leave, and I drove home. The morning I drove home, we had to leave where we were staying in Joey's house at 3:30 a.m. to get to the airport on time for him to make his flight. And it was still 80-mile-an-hour bumper to bumper traffic. I'm like, this is why when anybody ever says anything about like, you ever thought of moving to Georgia? No. Nope. That's a nope.
But Georgia's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is.
But that traffic, I was like, like I thought Seattle was bad. I was like, oh
no.
No.
That's why I never complain in Charlotte traffic ever. I will take our city traffic any day over
Charlotte
Atlanta.
seemed totally fine.
No big deal at all.
It was nothing. I love you, Joey. I just don't like Atlanta traffic.
He knows with me too. He knows. He's like, you'll have to drive down here. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Do I really?
So as long as now it's one thing. So like with the Atlanta thing, I could have rode with somebody, but I knew that I had to pick up one leg from the airport. So I'm like, no, I'll drive. I'll do it. But the whole way, one leg hurt the entire time. Like, just so you know, I don't do this for anybody. You owe me at least one world's toughest mudder.
Yeah, your language got quite colorful through Atlanta.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. Right, I'll make
it up to you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I just remember saying, Lisa, I am so sorry.
It was flabbergasting to me. Like I never would have even like imagined that it would be that bad. I was like, where are you people coming from? And like we were driving through in the middle of the night.
You guys have a home? Go home.
That's what Why are you driving? I'm like, where are you coming from? Like even in Seattle, it slows down. Where are you coming from?
Atlanta, hot Atlanta. It never stops. Never stops.
So yeah, you have so much going on. I'm so excited for you. Your books are absolutely amazing. And I didn't realize you had two more out.
Yes.
Now I gotta go get those too.
So technically it's 3 journals because the 4th one is the same one, just a different cover as the gratitude journal. But I actually have thought about taking the gratitude journal, the original one, off the market and just selling the alternative color cover because it's actually gotten more sales. I think just because it's not as feminine. So I think it was something that people were okay with buying.
Seemed a little bit more neutral versus more.
Yes. Sorry, my daughter texted me and I saw it and it distracted what I was saying. Yes. So anyway, I thought about doing that. But they're all still selling really well. And so it's really cool. I actually have like an Amazon author link and you can find all of my books on that one link, which is really, really cool. So
that is so awesome. Again, congratulations on that. I know you've been working on that for quite a while and I was so excited when you finally released it. I was like, yeah. And of course I went out and bought a couple of them.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Of course, the reviews Got to get those up there. So we can
Yes, I need reviews. Reviews.
And then, so you have your YouTube channel, you have TikTok, you have
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, you have pretty much everything. Are you the same handle for everything?
Yep. It's Erika Bogan, ErikaBogan for everything.
Perfect. Erika, thank you so much for coming on. I love catching up with you. And as always,
we have so much fun.
As always, ours are really long, which is awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see this year. I'm looking forward to seeing everything that comes to fruition with More Heart Than Scars, with Mount Kilimanjaro. And I highly recommend that everybody really stays tuned, finds More Heart Than Scars on Facebook, on all the social media, because what you promote, it relates to every single person in some way or another, whether you think it does or not. You're going to see a post. You're like, oh, it'll make you think, quite literally. Yeah. So super excited. Can't wait. Your human ruck experiment, I really am looking forward to seeing how that comes out for you guys. And World's Toughest Mudder. Oh my gosh. That's exciting. Yeah. Utterly exciting.
Super excited.
Yay. Well, like
we'll keep everybody posted.
Yay. Thanks so much for coming on, Erika.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
All right. Bye, hun.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook. Like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.